So now we focus upon the laws of reflection. Okay, just like everything else, every concept in science, it requires uniformity, as in there have to be specific laws and rules that dictate how a ray of light will get reflected. And that is where the laws of reflection come in, because we have to have some unity. It cannot be haphazard that depending on the surface, reflection will take place. But when we study refraction, there are also some laws, but there is also one variable, that is refractive index. But right now, since we are only dealing with one medium, we have two laws of reflection. Okay, let me explain this with a diagram. Let's say this is a surface. Okay, let's say this is a ray of light. All right, you need to draw the arrows because that will show the direction of light, and it is very important when you're drawing ray diagrams. In the forthcoming videos, we will be focusing on types of mirrors and lenses, of course, but arrows are extremely important to show the direction of light. So let's say there is a ray that is incident upon a surface. So what do we call this? We call this as incident ray. Okay, now the ray, it touches upon the surface at this point. Now the ray must get reflected, because let's say this is air and this is that plane mirror or a reflective surface. Okay, now it will go like this. Now this is known as reflected ray. Okay, so there are two rays in reflection. That is, one is incident ray, the ray that strikes on the reflective surface, and the reflected ray, the ray that gets reflected from the surface. Now if you draw a normal, now let's go to mathematics for a while. Okay, this is something that you must understand, that sciences are not independent of each other. Whatever you learn in math can be applied elsewhere in other sciences as well, and that is why we have physics. Alright, so in math you must have learned perpendicular, that is this one. Okay, I'm sorry for this, I'm not good at drawing lines. Okay, so let's say this is a line, and if I draw, what do I call this? An altitude. We also call this as normal. Normal is any line that is perpendicular to any surface. So when you draw a perpendicular, we call it normal. The same principle we are going to apply over here as well. Okay, so if you draw a normal, now this whole thing is 90 degree. Okay, this whole thing is 90 degree. Now if you look closely, there are two angles that are forming over here. Number one is this angle, number two is this angle. Let's call this as angle I, let's call this as angle R. Now geometrically, the first law of reflection states that angle I must be equal to angle R. Okay, this is the law of reflection. If there is an angle that is formed with the normal of the incident ray, we call that as angle of incidence. The angle that is formed with the normal of the reflected ray, we call that as angle of reflection. And both these angles are equal. This is the first law of reflection, and this goes for all the surfaces, even the spherical ones. The laws that we are learning right now, it's not only true for regular surfaces. Remember, in the previous video we studied there are two types of reflections, regular and irregular. Okay, so the laws that we are learning right now, that is laws of reflection, they are true for all the surfaces, regular and irregular as well. So the first one, that is angle of incidence, is equal to angle of reflection. That holds true for all surfaces. Now second one will require a little bit of imagination on your side. Okay, so the second one states that the incident ray then there is reflected ray and the normal. Okay, we have incident ray, reflected ray and the normal, they all lie in the same plane. Okay, so imagine a 3D surface. Okay, if there was a 3D surface, so if this is a plane 3D surfaces can have different planes. So all these three things will always be together. That is incident ray, normal and reflected ray. These laws, they hold true for all surfaces, be it regular, be it irregular.